If you have Gemini rising, this new moon is in your 10th house, and it's all about career and your public reputation or your public persona. So it's who you show up as in the outside world. So this could look like making plans for a new career or direction in your career. This could be a new job or a new opportunity at a job that you've had. It could be taking on a new project. For the last 2 years, Saturn has been teaching you boundaries around your career. So maybe that might look like, wanting to do for everybody at work and maybe coming to the realization like that's not really required of me. And maybe I'm exhausting myself being available to everybody for what everyone needs. So this could look like putting some solid boundaries, not walls, not, nothing that causes drama or causes backlash on you, but moving forward in a way that says, my time is valuable. This is what I'm willing to do with it, and this is what I'm not willing to do with it, which a lot of times does not actually even need to be said. Usually the first thing we think when we're setting a new boundary is how we need to inform everyone about the boundary. We don't need to inform anybody a lot of the time. We just need to start living it. Because usually the boundary that's getting demolished by other people, and not that this is always the case, but a lot of times we're inviting it or even suggesting that that's absolutely okay, that we are fine with that there is no boundary, that boundary doesn't even exist. And that could have been true in the past, but it's likely that right now, after almost 3 years of Saturn being in your 10th house and, really showing you where boundaries may have been porous and really exhausting for you, you might now have some really good ideas about what that looks like for you moving forward. And this new moon is just saying cool. So what's the first step in that? What does that look like for you? Does it mean having a conversation with somebody else? Or is it more how you're going to change the way you approach things? If you're starting a new job, you might want to start differently than you normally do. Instead of being available for everybody, you may want to be again, this is what I'm willing to do. This is what I'm not willing to do right up front. And not necessarily in some smackdown to another person, but just letting you know where I stand. I'm being transparent. That's actually very kind. A lot of times when we're doing it for the first time, or when it's not something that we have a lot of practice in, it feels like we're doing something mean. And the truth is that, usually people want to know what is and isn't okay with you. Usually people don't want to be disappointed when they ask you to, do something and you're not willing to do it, or to feel like they've pushed in a way that was unfair. It can save everyone a lot of time when we're transparent in that way at work. So if that's the kind of the plan that's forming right now for you, just remember that just because this is new for you doesn't mean it's a completely new idea to let people know where you stand ahead of time. A lot of people do it. It's okay if you do it too. This can also be about the way that you walk through the world, about the way that you present yourself and what your reputation is. So if you have had a reputation for being everyone's go-to when they're in need, and now you're kind of you just don't really have time for that. There may have been a dream in your mind of being everybody's everything, but what you're finding is that, then I'm not really available for the things I want to do or available for myself. If that's the case, then you're likely making some changes right now in the way that you approach others, in the way that you allow others to approach you.